This is the iRacers Lounge, featuring the latest iRacing news, driver interviews, race reviews, opinions, discussions, rumors, and more. Now here's Alan Pajari and Mike Ellis.
Welcome to iRacers Lounge. I'm your host, Alan Pajari. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. With me here, the usual is Mike Ellis and Carlos Fonseca, plus we have Jeff Walton here with us on the show. Hello, guys.
Hey.
All right. So the championship series are up. We got the Peak Antifreeze Series and the World Championship GP. And so we've had a couple races since our last show. And anybody watched the Phoenix race where PJ Sturgis had a pretty good race in this caution-free event at Phoenix?
Yeah, I certainly caught parts of it myself. I didn't watch it, every lap kind of thing, but certainly was interesting with the strategy, the way it played out with the no caution. So,
yeah, I thought it was interesting. On some people were short pitting and expecting caution. Some people were, going long and expecting caution. Some people are just on that every 33 lap or I believe 33, 34 lap. Pace, and we're going to see what happened there. So it was a pretty interesting race, and so we have another Sturgis brothers take home a checker. So yeah, it was kind of fun to watch. And let me just list out the top five here in the point standings, just so everyone knows. We got PJ Sturgis, who is in first place with 127 points. Ray Alfala has 121. Alan Boas has 118. And Jake Sturgis has 117. And Chris Overland is in fifth at 115. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty good battle shaping down. And we have in eighth place, we have a past guest on the show, which is, why am I forgetting his name? Actually, Andrew Fayash the third. He's in eighth place. So Andrew's having
nice,
a pretty good series so far.
Yeah, that strategy on Phoenix actually was that group, and he was in that group that won. We were doing a two-stop race, and everyone else was on a three-stop, and that's how they basically got the lead and won the race there. So, yeah, congrats to him, and his brother won the week before at Atlanta.
Oh, how did Tyler do in that?
I think Tyler finished 17th at Phoenix. I think he just had a oh-hum car and oh-hum run. So I think it was just kind of oh-hum. And when Tyler is oh-hum, he gets disappointed. So after the race, he actually was kind of disappointed. So I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future there. But I know the short tracks are more of a struggle for our setup gurus, and so I really wasn't expecting. I was kind of hoping he would get top 10, but I don't know. It's the 1.5 mile tracks that which hopefully we can shine on to be able to have Tyler move up. But anyways, it was just it was an alright race to watch, and it's pretty interesting. No cautions at Phoenix when I would expect personally that there'd be a lot. So I was kind of surprised. Were you guys surprised?
Of what?
No cautions?
Yeah, no cautions.
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are aggressive,
Based on how they usually race, yeah, I guess I am surprised. And, Phoenix usually is like 3 and 4 wide down that backstretch, and with the, you go down on the apron. So you kind of expect cautions, but hey, they're great drivers.
Yeah, they are. So, and then in the World Championship GP, we had Martin Kroenke win at Sebring. And so...
anyone but Hutu, huh?
Yeah, anyone but Hutu. But Gregor is actually doing pretty well. Let me just read off the top five here. We got Martin Kroenke is in the lead, 104 points. We got Gregor Hutu in second, 98. Tied for second is Ali Pakala with 98. And then we got Mitchell De Jong with 97. And then Peter Berryman has 78. So there's your top five in the World Championship GP series.
I love rooting for Mitchell De Jong, who's the lone American there in that group. Good run, Mitchell, there.
Yeah, it looks like he's doing pretty good, but I think it's going to it really does look like that series is also shaping up to be pretty tight amongst at least the top four there, and should be pretty good going down the line. And so we'll talk a little bit more about one of their members of this series a little bit later. But anyways, those races are pretty fun to watch too on RaceSpot TV, and it's a pretty good series to watch. I'm just amazed at these guys, their abilities to be able to drive that car around, which is a difficult car, especially to all the different things you can change now in that Formula One car, and how well they do.
Well, real quick, kind of a side note here. I got to try that car actually during one of these maintenance periods where iRacing puts up that, test drive .iRacing.com thing.
Correct.
And boy, I was having fun with that. And 7 gears, and the thing is fast, and
yeah, I gave it a shot too. Of course, I know nothing about it. Oh, by the way, one thing I wanted to point out that iRacing on their YouTube channel came out with a couple of videos about setting up the Formula One car. So for people that want to learn how to set up that car, they do got a couple of videos. I kind of wish they would do it on some other cars too. But it was nice to see that they had some videos on that.
Yep.
But yeah, I ran that car during one of those test drive sessions, and just the default setup and stuff, and so it was kind of interesting. Took it out on Spa. It was kind of fun. But
I imagine when I drove it, I was thinking about these guys, the pros, and I'm thinking, boy, it's easy enough to drive around the track, but to be fast and be with these guys, it's got to be really hard.
Have you ever had an opportunity to watch some of the Radicals online stuff where they show the first-person view, the YouTube videos?
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's amazing. They're slip sliding around and keeping the car underneath them and stuff. It's just, to me, it's amazing. And unfortunately, these guys aren't one of the top people, but you can see on how fast you have to be, how good you have to be one of the top people in one of these cars, because they're just going ridiculous speed and shifting like crazy and everything else, I can't believe it. To me, that just takes so much skill. So, but you got to be one of those guys to be one of the tops, and this is the top series on the road, and there's no doubt about it. All right, and let's get down to one of our favorite topics, which is the NASCAR iRacing series. They had 2 races since our last show, which was Phoenix, which was the first one for the low downforce package, and then they had Auto Club. And since I was on vacation, Phoenix, why don't you take it away, talk about your races, talk about what you thought, and we'll go from there. Then we'll go to Auto Club.
Go ahead, Carlos.
Oh, about what?
Well, Phoenix, how was your Phoenix?
Oh, Phoenix was okay for me, I guess. But, the ridiculous driving standards some of these people put out there just made it an awful week for me that I pretty much just quit after I took an 11th place finish and called that a win because I just wanted to get out of there. But, man, there's so much aggressive drivers out there. They just throw it in there without regard that you're next to them.
The super dive bomb, you mean?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And last lap, I had 7th place. I had it going into 3. Some guy just throws it in there and tags me. Ended up saving it, but 7 spots I lost right there.
Well, let me ask you guys. I don't know if you saw the real NASCAR race at Phoenix, but the way that Carl Edwards and Harvick were roughing each other up there coming to the checkered flag. Do you think that gives the iRacers, the idea or the authority to say, hey, that's an acceptable way to drive?
Well, I guess
to some point, yeah. To some point, yeah, I do. But also, I feel that there's a lot of people where this truly is just a game to them, and they don't care.
Yeah, they don't win. They don't care if they don't win. So they're gonna, do anything they can to try.
Well, things that Edwards did, he wouldn't try something like that on lap 1, like all these guys were.
That's true. I mean, they were coming to the checkered when it happened. Yeah,
And actually,
I had a
I'm fine with
horrible
that.
week
Even in
week.
iRacing, I'm fine with that. You coming down to checkered or last part of the race, then maybe your strategies might change. Maybe you might get more aggressive. That type of stuff is fine. But in iRacing, you see this from lap one.
Yeah, the first
Every
run, you
race.
hear everybody in TeamSpeak say, everyone's running Q laps here and racing like crazy.
Yep. But just put it in the back of your mind. Let them burn the tires out or let them crash, and try to get you a good finish. By trying to race smart. Which I think we all try to do. So that's kind of the thing. But let's face it, a lot of those guys have been successful racing like that, and they will continue to race like that.
Yep. Well, I had a high of 13th for Phoenix. It was a horrible week, lots of wrecks and whatnot, and just being slow. I don't know how to manage tires.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that in Auto Club and what I saw. So
That's a little different, yeah.
yeah, being in the race with you, but yeah, actually, I was I didn't feel too bad missing out on Phoenix. I have to admit, because that is notoriously one of my worst tracks, and I always feel like no matter what I try to do, no matter if I try to just take it easy, or if I try to run hard, or anything else like that, I always end up in someone else's crap. So I'm actually kind of happy I missed that.
So you'd missed the whole week. You didn't take a start, or?
Yep, missed the whole week.
All they did was integrity, weren't you?
Yep, that's the only thing I did was the integrity, and then we went on vacation. I came back late Sunday night, so missed the whole thing.
You got 5 drop weeks, so perfect.
Yep. All right, let's talk about Auto Club. Mike, let's start with you. How'd your Auto Club go?
Well, I want to say it's the same as Phoenix. I had horrible runs, except for one. I kind of snuck. I got a top 5 somehow, and with just people wrecking and me just surviving, and I really got that through attrition.
Yep, and I was in that race with you, and I was part of that attrition, kind of, since I was damaged on the front end on one. I think the last wreck there was, and that's because we had a restart. I don't remember how many laps to go, and it was starting to get a little crazy, and I didn't quite make it through the wreck.
Yeah,
and
Michael
so
McLean, if I remember right, brought that last caution out, took out a lot of people, including you. I somehow missed it.
That's McLean for you.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of used to that. But let's talk about saving your tires. And this is a little bit what I noticed, and something else that I need to work on too is, and it gets a little harder when someone's right behind you. But it's called backing up the corners. It's called letting off a little earlier and letting it roll into the corner.
Or vice versa, use a crap ton of brake.
Well, yeah, if you end up using a lot of brake, then you're also wearing out your fronts. Using all that brake. So it's actually getting off the corner a little bit easier. Now for example, at Auto Club on turn 1, you have like a sign, and then you have a 3 marker, then you have a 2 marker, and then a 1 marker.
Right.
And so where do you let off the gas?
I'm starting at the sign.
All right. And then do you start getting back into the gas before you hit the corner, or like mid-corner?
Well, my problem is I get back to the gas too soon, and then I push up out of the bottom groove, and then everyone passes me. So that's realistically what I do.
All right, yeah, because one of the things that I noticed is that I thought you were running too hard, actually, in the corners.
Right,
but
and it pushes up, right?
Yeah.
Right, and I can't get myself to let it roll in the middle. I just can't I need to lift my foot clear off the pedals. I used to do that last year. Maybe I need to start doing that again.
Yeah, but because that's where, like you would have me in the first laps after a restart, and then eventually I'll get you back. And I know I wasn't that great at Auto Club about letting it off, because I was using the gas a little bit to help me turn when I probably should let it roll more. And so I know I was wearing out some front tires there when I probably shouldn't have as much, but it's something I'm working on too. Is about that, but let's talk about the low downforce because we really felt it at Auto Club.
Yep.
Well, yeah, like you said, when you get up behind a car and you can really loosen that car up. That was something I noticed.
Well, what about driving too deep into turn one? And basically, you could not turn unless you.
Yeah, you'd almost have to get real hard on the brakes and just,
Yep.
gather it back up.
So notice that a lot. It's just holy cow. It's just but coming off of two and stuff kind of remind me of Auto Club in the past, in the fixed setups where it was a little slippery.
And later in the run, when you hit a late apex or something, if you got the wrong line, it just goes straight to the wall. And I've had times where I would have to hit the brakes when I'm coming out of 2 and 4 because, just keeping to the throttle would have carried me to the wall.
Yeah, it was definitely different. When I first started practicing for Auto Club, I really didn't practice too much because of the vacations. I really didn't get to run too many laps at Phoenix or anything. And actually, I didn't think Phoenix was too much of a change with the low downforce compared to the normal, or the way it used to be, I should say. But as soon as I got in Auto Club, it's just like, oh man, this is a big change. And so it actually took me a little bit to figure out what the heck I was doing, for a while.
No, we did that integrity race on Monday, and I was fast, only in those first 3 laps. I qualified up there, top 7, I think. And, yeah, I didn't know what to do that whole race. I was getting passed left and right and found out you got to protect that bottom at all costs. I had to actually do a fixed race during the week to figure out what I was doing wrong, and ended up paying off for my fixed race.
Yeah, I definitely would say that the integrity, since we run default weather fixed setups, does kind of help you for the fixed NIS fixed series. So there's no doubt about it. You get a real good feel for how the racing's going to go even before you jump into those things. But I don't know. Integrity to me has been a little frustrating this year. So
fall off though too. I mean, the tire fall off was consistent and it went down consistently, it seems.
Oh yeah, it seemed right this time.
I think during one of the races I was talking to some people that, wow, I mean, they've really got the package feeling like what I'm seeing on TV with NASCAR.
Oh yeah.
I think they really did a great job, iRacing did, as far as matching what NASCAR's current package is. And, kudos to iRacing. I can't imagine it being any closer to what they're doing. I think we felt the differences. It is slight, but I think that's what NASCAR drivers are feeling too. It's a slight difference.
Oh, you should have seen how much I was actually having to work the car, getting out of the corners every single lap in a run just to keep up with the guys in front of me. Like the split that I was in, I never had a chance to save any tires, and it really made you have to drive the car like you see them do.
Yeah, I would, I've never been in a real car, so I don't know how it feels for them at all. But the new package feels pretty decent to me for some good racing, and you can't. At least one of the things that we talked about is that with the new track dynamics that they put in last year, and now with the low downforce package, the hot lapping days are gone. They are gone. You can't do that in a car anymore. Those things, that's shot.
Yep.
Tell that to John Walker. No, I don't know. Just he was putting down hot laps every single lap. It seemed.
The mysterious John D. Walker.
Yeah, he ended up winning that race dominantly, but it was actually a fun race with him. The race I was in.
Yeah, I think as far as the comparison to NASCAR, just to finish that thought, I listened to Dale Earnhardt Jr. after the race. He does this podcast thing, and he basically just sits there and talks to his phone, and they record it. But he talks for like 10 minutes about the car and what he felt and how the race went and all that stuff. And so, that's what I'm comparing it to, is like you hear a guy talk about the, how it's driving and how it feels. And then you hear other drivers and what they're saying too. So, and that's exactly what I'm feeling in the car. So.
Well, then that's good. And then that's good that iRacing was able to get it to where at least what you hear, what other people say, the real drivers, that is what you feel too. So that's good.
I think they did a great job. So the other rant I got on California is, why in the world is this thing full length? This is ridiculous.
Oh, I loved it. I
Oh yeah, it was
loved it.
fun.
Yeah, I'm different than you on this one. I personally, I love the fact that they throw some other type of other tracks in it. I love the fact that Bristol's going to be the next one too. So
I don't know. I thought it was reserved
differ.
for special events, the long things, you know?
Well, there isn't that many special events.
Yep. Hell, I don't.
So
I'm
I
not
like
looking
it how they
forward to
mix it
Bristol.
around. You know, they got to mix it around. They basically have the same ones they had last year, and then they threw in a few more, which I like. You know, and there's a lot of people that are asking for the full distance, and of course, there's a lot of people that don't want it. But you know, you got to, who do you make happy here? So I mean, they're not all full distance.
I guess I'm okay with the mix. I mean, if everything was full distance, I would be able to do it because I work for a living, you know. And
Yeah, but I like the fact that they threw some ones, and I'm hoping next year you see some different.
maybe they mix it up.
Hopefully not
Yeah.
Martinsville.
Yeah,
Right.
well, even Martinsville,
Drop week.
Richmond, or they got kind of mix things up and stuff. So
Well, the 200 laps led to a lot of green flag runs and cases in certain races. Man, I had fun, even though I was struggling, and towards the back of the pack. The times, everyone would get on different tire cycles, and so it get really spread out. And it was like, boy, we're already starting green flag cycles again, and I had just pitted like 10 ago because there were people that pitted early, and so everyone was on different tires. And there were times when I'm marching through the field on new tires to get to the leader and get back on the lead lap, and that was fun racing. Because I'm the one who's faster for a change, and actually passing, and yeah, it was fun, and I actually enjoyed that part of it.
Yep. Going into the race, what was your pit strategy?
What was that?
Going into the race, so when the race first started, you got 200 laps. What was your pit strategy?
Till I felt like I was gonna smack the wall, I would stay out on tires as long as I could until the leaders started pitting. Then
No,
once they go on.
I was going to say just the 32, 33 like we usually do.
Yeah, I usually
Yeah, I
go
think,
off what the leader does.
Yeah, I saw some people do like the 25. I know a lot of people are doing the 33, 34 deal. Matter of fact, most of my teammates were talking about that. I went with the 40. That was my first one, and especially if the first run. The first run, I tried to take it as long as possible, just hoping there was a caution, because you know how it is when these NIS races. There's normally a caution
Like Heishman.
right away. Yeah, and so basically the first one I took for a long one, and then the rest I just kind of try to figure it out based on the cautions and when they came out. But yeah, if the whole thing went green, I would have went on the 40s. So
Our teammate Jose did the same thing. He did the 40s, and he stuck to it. I think he did it early in the week, and it just didn't work out for him at all.
Yeah, well, it really kind of depends if the cautions fly and when they fly. And so, because every time you have a restart, you got to refigure out your pitch strategy. So you got to just, and go, if it's going to go from green from here. But then there's a lot of times you're thinking it's not going to go green. So I'll just short pit it, or I'll just do whatever and do that. But I know at the beginning I tried to make a longer one, hoping that there'd be a caution. And none of them did work out for me. So there wasn't a caution while I was, lap ahead of everyone. But and basically there was a few people that went even longer than me, and so I'd be like in fifth place, and I would pit, and try to work my way back up. But even with that strategy, with guys that were pitting in the 30s, you can make up time on them pretty quickly and stuff. So I don't think I was never like worried about being caught a lap down because of that pit strategy. How if I say that? So I don't think it was that bad.
Speaking of which, I had some issues in one of the... Oh, actually, the fixed race where I did get to a finish. Said I ended up going a lap down because of the whole... Some people not maintaining a speed and causing me to pass them and get caught with that yellow, or passing under yellow deal. Which is, you have to serve under green. Then you have all that. Oh no, that didn't cost me a lap. What happened was, I went to go serve that penalty right after a restart, and stop in my box, and it starts counting down that 1 second. I had to stop and go, and it was only 1/10 of a second left, and it for some reason just stopped. I didn't even do nothing, so I had to drive around again, and that's what cost me a lap. So I'd be able to come back and get a 7th out of that. I'll take it.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was a good run
glitch.
for you. I also had a problem. I don't know if it was a glitch, but I had a 1.5-minute black flag. And
What?
that's the longest penalty I've ever had in my life. But we basically had a caution. I came down the pit. I missed my box. I see it in my mirror. It's like 3 back. I put it in reverse. I back up into my box, and it black flags me. I guess I backed up too far.
Yep.
And that's my guess. And 1.5 minutes was the penalty under green.
Yep. That's too far.
Yep.
So I don't know what's the distance or anything like that, but my guess is probably only about one pit box that you can back up into. Otherwise, you missed it and you got to go around.
At least it wasn't that hour and 7 minutes damage I had in the Sebring.
I know. I've never heard of that either. That was a new record.
Oh, someone the same week as Auto Club ended up getting an hour and a half of damage.
Yep. All right. Let's talk about the Open. Let's get to the weather in a little bit. But how'd you guys do in some of the open races?
I thought I was doing pretty good. Same thing happened, passing under yellow again. Just has not been good for me.
Yeah. Do you get that before you going into the pit road and someone's still behind you and you're just kind of waiting for them to go by? Is that when you get it?
I was coming to pit road, and this guy was staying out. Well, Emery Racing Integrity is 83, what's his name? Alvarez. He just messing around, being real slow at the top of the track, and I was just following the guys in front of me to pit road, and barely got in front of him, but when I got to pit road before I even made it to the, commitment cone, before you get there, there's just nothing that could happen there.
Yeah, there's the line at some of these tracks. I noticed that at Las Vegas and probably Auto Club. The line is before the commitment cones. There's some line. It's like when the thing comes up, tell you the speed.
Yeah, that's
it.
Yeah, you can't do nothing about it. You can stop and let them by you, but it's too late.
Yep.
And that's what happened. Cost me 2 laps.
Yep. It killed me in.
So are the cones in the wrong spot? Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't know about if the cones are in the wrong spot. I just think where it determines on your passing is probably on the wrong spot, because it's as soon as that pit road speed thing comes up, which is before the cones.
It's before you're actually have to get down to pit road speed.
Yep. As soon as those things come up, you're considered in pit lane, and if you're past the car that you're not supposed to be past, then it
still don't make sense because he stayed out. I mean, technically he passed me right back. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I know it's happened to me, and I think some people use it as a strategy.
And he took the second fastest car out of the race.
Yep. So anyway, I know for the open setups, I actually had some decent cars for them, and did pretty well, at least in my second race, which was the Sunday race. And I'll get to the weather here in a second. But Mike, how'd you do in the opens?
Well, our team did pretty good. I mean, half of us got, in the top 10 as far as a finish. Mine was, 5th in California on that race I was in with you. You were wrecked in the front, and I just blew by you, and everybody else.
I thought that was a fixed.
Oh, was that the fixed?
Yeah, that was a fixed race.
Yeah, I can't even keep them apart. I had 12th as my best in the Open.
Okay. Yeah, I ended up getting that 4th place in the Sunday race. But let me talk about the weather here for a second. The track temp for the Sunday race was 63 degrees. That was the track temp.
Like, is it going to snow?
And here's kind of my deal on that track temp. You go into a test session where you can set the temperature. You can't set it to get a track temp that low.
Yeah, that's what didn't make sense. Matt, our teammate, Matt Bowley, or whatever his name is, his last name, I don't know how to say it, but he had the same issue he was saying. He was putting down 55 degrees on the air temp, and you can only go to 65.
Yeah, you cannot get that low. And so it's starting to bother me. It wasn't bothering me before, but with the 63 degree track temp, the range is too much.
Yeah, they need to rein that in a little.
And so, you can't set up a car for 60 degrees all the way up to 120 degrees and never know what you're going to get.
You gotta have 20 setups to be prepared.
Yeah, and so, I really wasn't prepared when I saw that. It was just like, oh my God. Now I know
What do we do?
Yeah, I know Jason worked on something for 68 degrees because he happened to be in a practice that was 68, but I didn't have that set up. So I did a little chasing there. I didn't chase during the race. I chased before the race on it. And I used the qualifying session to just practice for the race. I didn't qualify. I never finished the lap. I just tried to get the feel for the car and that type of stuff for that. And I got kind of lucky. We had a 90-degree setup where I just, I made my usual changes of which I would make for taking a normal and having it 100 degrees, And so I did that type of thing and ended up working out. But they ought to have some kind of 10-degree range that we have for the week.
Or can't they just go off what the actual temperatures could be at in that day?
See, I don't think they can. I don't think that's realistic.
Because what if it's December?
Yeah, especially during the winter.
Are we racing on a club in December?
Well, if you're in the regular A Opens, we are. Yeah, but I understand the randomness, but I think what they should do is just set it within a range, and then let people know the range ahead of time.
Or at least in the practice server, they throw you into make it the same as the race.
Oh, yeah, and I
understand.
I even understand the reason why they don't do that, but it shouldn't be such a wide range. That's all I'm saying, because the wide range is nearly impossible to set up a race car for.
Yep. I know you could.
So if you're working on track temps of 110 because that's default or whatever it is, and then they throw you a 63 during a race, well, that's a big difference.
Or at least they could, give a half-hour practice session before the race, of that same weather, not a full-on practice, just enough to get a feel and see if you can change anything real quick. Or increase the practice time even more. We only get, 5 minutes? 3 minutes?
Yeah, we only get the 3 minutes and plus that 8-minute qualifying, or however long that is. 5-minute qualifying. And so I don't know. It was pretty disappointing. That's what I should say. And it actually it changed my mind on the weather thing. And I think it should be tightened up.
At least somewhat realistic, right?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't even have to be necessarily realistic for that area. Just give us, or for the real race or anything like that, just give us a range that's something where people can actually work on. Have it. So if they say the race is gonna be between 100, or I'm just talking track temps here, not air temps, and I don't care how they do it. But if they say it's gonna be between 100 and 110, well, now at least we got something that we can set up for, and then make the adjustments that we're gonna make before the race. Where it isn't major adjustments. So I mean, people that had real loose setups got lucky. That's what I would say, that they got lucky on that race, and some people just overshot it and really loosened up the car, and to the point where they couldn't control it anymore. Because actually, with the weather like that, you're going faster, so you're going to wear out your tires more, especially the right rear, and so
you get the
you have to be prepared for that.
Remember the whole tape deal?
Well, yeah. You have the thing where they don't understand
You're carrying more
They-
speed.
Yeah, they carry more speed, so the RPMs are more. So they got to actually put on less tape than more tape, But yeah, to me, it's just kind of like, just please give us a smaller range, even if it was 20 degrees. I don't care, but a 50 or 60 degree range is just
Ridiculous.
too much. Yep. I mean, crew chiefs don't have to worry. Obviously they would know the weather. They would have kind of an idea what's going on and that kind of stuff like that. And it isn't like you're going to find out, 8 minutes before the race actually begins on what the weather is. I mean, in that kind of a range. So I don't know. I just kind of want it down a little bit. Anyway, I understand that you had a couple teammates with Matt and Jose that were basically chasing it throughout the race. They ended up doing okay, but they had to chase it, which is, I think I read on your thing.
Oh, theirs was the other way. It was real tight. They just had to keep trying to loosen the car up at least when I got on TeamSpeak, and they were talking about car's way too tight.
Yeah, I got pretty lucky. I set myself up for something that was pretty decent. Ran up near the front the whole time, even though I didn't qualify and started in the back. Ran up near the front the whole time and was able to avoid the wrecks for whatever it was, and had a nice finish there. So I got kind of lucky on my setup I did, but it was pure luck. For that kind of temperature, I didn't know what the hell I was. I didn't know how much I would change a car, and maybe I didn't change it enough. But I don't know. I got kind of lucky. All right, so let's go back to the GP. I mentioned that there was a racer in that series who is stepping down. It's Hugo Lewis. I believe he stepped down last year too.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yep, real life kind of gets in the way. Was there any kind of a reason on this one here, Mike?
No reason, but it sounded like he was just, he said he was moving on to different, things, kind of. It sounded like he was done with sim racing, the way it read. But there was an article there from Race Spot that mentioned he's no longer going to be involved in that series.
Yeah, so probably real life is getting in the way again. So he probably missed it, because I know last year he did it, and because of how it is, where life kind of gets in the way.
You have a job,
of your fun, and so and it looks like that's happening to him again. He probably missed it like crazy, and he gave it another shot, and probably just couldn't do it. So
he has 19 victories in his name, placing him second in series history, and he's the only other driver other than Hutu to win a world title of Grand Prix racing.
Yep. So, and he's always up there near the front too. So that's a big name that's stepping down. But things happen.
We'll see him next time. Hope he comes back.
Yep. We'll see. All right, and want to talk about the television debut? We're
going to have iRacing races on actual real TV on a Motors TV channel. And iRacing announced this on their Twitter. The debut is going to be March 29th at 17:20 GMT time. And it's the Grand Prix series we just were talking about. So they're actually going to televise that. And that's awesome, man. We make a bigger audience. And I guess I need to sit down and see if I can get that channel on my television.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, where can you get that Motors TV? So
you look at their Twitter feed and it says on Freeview and UView channel 240. So it sounds like maybe it's not real TV. Maybe it's more of a web TV thing.
Or maybe it's just not here.
Right. Maybe it's a European
another country.
deal.
Yep.
Right.
So, which is probably my guess, and since I know it was a UK TV station that was doing that Kia series.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's probably another European country.
Like you have to have BBC or something to watch it. Yeah.
Yep. So, which is still good. Still
Yeah.
good. That
Good
it's
for
on,
iRacing.
Yep, and maybe someday that maybe someday some American channel will carry the Peak series. So you never know. All right, and looks like Ty Majeski won another race. How about that? Never heard of that before.
You've never heard that, huh? Well, yeah,
Never.
he won the Rattler 250, and of course he has iRacing all over the car as usual. So congratulations again, and the one thing I want to say here is the NASCAR world is taking notice of Ty Majeski finally, and people are starting to take notice. I've seen it. And it's not going to be long before one of these big owners snatch him up. And I would love for iRacing to piggyback along for the ride and take it all the way to the Cup. And I don't know. I know they don't have that kind of money, but we know that the founder of iRacing, the owner of Roush Fenway, actually does have that kind of money. So, boy, that would be cool, John, if you sponsored a car or a driver all the way to the Cup level.
Yeah, it's something you never really see though as a personal
truck.
Someone's coming out of their own pocket. Normally it's a business. So
Yeah.
iRacing doesn't have the dollars to do Cup sponsorship, but we
Like
can,
14 million now, or
it's up there. I know it's they price themselves out of a lot of sponsorship. How's that? So I mean, that's the reason why you see these cars that are only able to run 6 races, because they can't get the sponsorship for more. And so, if it wasn't so expensive, people would have a lot more sponsorship. And the funny thing is too is that even the secondary or a non-major sponsorship still costs a lot of money for
like the
Cup
truck
cars.
series, or yeah.
Oh, I'm just talking about, for example, let's say you don't have the main sponsor, but you just have a sticker on the quarter panel or something like that. That still costs a lot of money to be able to do that. And I just seem to wonder if the Cup Series has kind of rang themselves a little out of business with that. And I think that's one of the reasons why there's less cars, why they now have that thing where they have 36 cars that are automatically make the race. What was that called?
Charter system.
The charter system. And so it's just those cars are guaranteed that their sponsorships will be on TV. You know what I mean? So it's just, I think that's just one of the sad things about it, is they become so marketing wise.
Yeah.
You kind of miss the days when it really wasn't that bad, or where you would see like Joe's bottle shop, on a car.
Roll up with a flatback, and yeah.
So, but hey, it is what it is, and you have to be, because you have to have a team of hundreds of people to be able to take care of one car, and all that money goes into making sure that their car can at least run competitively. So it's kind of understood that way, but it is a little sad.
I don't know. I guess it's a dream of mine to see Ty make it to the top. With him coming from iRacing and him getting his rides because of how well he's done in iRacing and whatnot, and then he's sponsored by iRacing. I just think it's neat that we, as a community, can get behind this guy and support him. He's obviously a winner on and off the track, and I bet you money that 6 months from now, one of the big NASCAR teams is going to sign this guy up.
Yeah, I would think that might be coming up. Put him in a truck and
A development driver deal or something. Yeah.
move him up. Yep, we'll see. All right, let's talk about what was delayed today. Today is Thursday.
Patch 1.
Yep. So
we're not supposed to have patches. They do, season releases every quarter, and they only do a patch if they need to, and they need to because there were a lot of problems in this last build.
What I must say, it was a lot better than the last one.
That's true.
Way better.
So I'll give them that. But
that's true. And they're working on a few things. But what's interesting is they were going to deploy, and then they delayed it, and then they were going to deploy on another day, and they delayed it. It till today, and they delayed it again. But they keep finding stuff in their testing and then getting it fixed. So
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with waiting for them to actually have the things fixed before.
that's right. There's no hurry. So what's interesting is what they found and what they're fixing and the way it was found. An iRacer from Great Britain basically diagnosed iRacing's issue on the new build. And it comes down to basically they're not using all the CPU cores available, which is causing a multitude of issues. They actually gifted him $500 in iRacing credit for the find.
Yeah, and I don't know if you read the whole thing, but it was actually one part of it, which is the particles are stuck to one core, and it isn't the whole thing. But
right, but that messes up stuff.
Yeah, that messes up stuff and causes those what I would call 2-second where the heck am I type of freeze frames that they got going on. So
well, I didn't have a lot of problems myself, but I heard a lot of other people with maybe older computers were really struggling.
Well, I'm still trying to figure that out. Now someone came out with a little program that will drop it from using Core Zero whenever it comes across the iRacing, one of the iRacing EXEs. And so it was supposed to help solve that problem, and it solved it for a lot of people. But I'm using Windows 8. My graphics card I know is good. I got a decent amount of RAM. CPU's an i7. And, I really shouldn't be having too many problems at all on a normal type situation. But I still get that, and I still had it with this other thing. And one of the things I also noticed too, and it could be something else, which we'll talk about. But I was having, like, I would say lag issues, but people were saying I was blinking out, which never happens to me. So I don't know if it was because of this, because we don't know exactly where the network thing runs. We don't know exactly where, all the other stuff runs on this thing. And so I always kind of find it a little iffy when someone says, well, let's just knock it off of Core Zero and have the thing run better, because we know that it's actually supposed to be spread across all the cores in your CPU. And when you knock it off of one, which thing are you killing? And so I was wondering about my network issue, because I did see it kind of jumping around, my quality jumping around a little bit. And it's possible that, maybe my internet was just acting up, but I don't think so. It normally doesn't happen to me. So I was a little leery of that. And so that's the reason why I stopped doing that. So I'm kind of hoping this patch fixes all that stuff. But one of the things that I wanted to mention was, and Ray, I'll follow up on this one, is one of the things that they put in this build here was that to try to help the netcode issue is that you can go into your account and go into your internet speed settings and bump it up. And he said that ever since he did that, he started having the network issues where he was blinking out and that type of stuff. And so he popped it back. Now, I don't know if that's an issue that they have.
I understand what that does is it literally sends you more information. So if you have 60 cars on track, it's going to give you, and you have it turned as high as possible, it's going to give you to the most minute detail everything about all of those 60 cars, which in reality is more packets of bandwidth that's coming down to you. So
right.
if your pipe is not big enough to handle that, then you are going to get lag and delay and stuff like that. So
well, what happens if it is? Like, for example, I know I have like 130 meg down or whatever, and about 15 or 20 meg up.
You should be fine then.
And I should be fine.
Stream?
Well, because when I've had issues, and I've streamed and people have said, you're blinking, and I'm like, well, that stops me streaming,
Yep.
So, but I seem to wonder if that could be a cause of anything or anything else. It was just something else that Ray found, and that some other people have confirmed that they saw the same thing. But then again, you never know. We're just all guessing here, So, but what this guy did though is that he was able to at least identify something that iRacing took a look at farther into and found a problem. And so that was good. And so,
And it's a big problem.
it's a big problem. And so it is good that he was able to get that. And I'm happy that they gave him some.
There is some
credits
kind of workaround, as you kind of mentioned, but I kind of advise against it because it's actually changing windows. It's not doing anything with the sim to do something with the cores. But I'm just going to wait for the release. Unless you literally can't race, I'd probably just wait for the release.
Yeah, I've actually tried two things: the process lasso thing.
You going to put it
tried
back
that.
the way it was after? They put it?
Yeah, well, I already put it back, and
Okay.
so I didn't see any change in that, and I didn't see any change in using that little program that the guy made. And if it works for other people, wonderful. But it didn't necessarily work for me. And to be honest with you, yesterday I was even thinking about wiping my computer out clean, putting Windows 7 on it. Just wondering if that will fix the issue.
If anyone has issues, you need to wait for this patch to come out, really.
Yeah.
And see what happens before you panic.
Yeah, but to me, I don't like driving and then all of a sudden get a freeze frame type of. It's not exactly a freeze. It's just.
Well, especially when you spend money on good equipment, you kind of expect that it's going to work.
Yeah, it's just. But you know how I drive. I don't like to crash.
Right.
And it seems like when you're running next to a car and you're like, oh my God, here we go. It's just like a 2 to 3 second little moving very slowly type of thing. And I've tried all the tricks, like one of the things they say is that, when you run the graphics configurator, it will basically, I got the 16 gigs of memory in here and it'll put it up to 8, I think. And in the, render INI, it would tell you to drop that to reduce page faults. So right. I have dropped that because that was something that someone that they were working on before was to drop that to 2000 to only use 2 gigs of RAM. That they said kind of was fixed the issue for the Nürburgring GP. A lot of people were having huge stuttering there when it first came out, and so they were working on that. And so I tried that trick. It does work a little bit better to actually drop that from what the graphics configuration does. But it wasn't exactly I was having a bunch of page faults or anything like that. It's just I tried that. So I've been trying a bunch of stuff, and I'm just kind of hoping that this new build will solve my problems. So anyway, we'll find out about it. But again, thanks to Scott. I don't know his last name, but thanks for Scott for finding that problem that iRacing was able to dig deeper.
I think the entire community. And you know what? The reading through that thread, I almost get the impression this might have been an issue from the previous build, the one where we had all the troubles, and it's been there since, but it's hard to say.
Maybe ever since the particle stuff came out with Popcorn FX.
That's what I mean, yeah. September build.
All right, iRace for Life seminar coming up here on April 27th through the 29th in Dallas.
Yeah, I just like to remind everybody about this because I want to go and I'm jealous and I'm not going, but boy, it looks awesome. There's going to be all these iRacing people there and all these people from iRacing. Lots of the manufacturers in the sim industry are going to be there. There's giveaways. People are bringing their rigs, and man, it looks like fun.
Yeah, and normally David Cater goes to that thing and teaches some setup stuff, and I don't believe he's going to be at this one.
Yeah, in fact, he is. In the forums, they announced David Cater. Yes, he is back, and he will be there. Ray Alfala is going to be there. Wyatt Gooden, Darren Ganji, John Sable, Otto from iRacing, and so on. A lot of people from the various manufacturers as well.
Okay. All right. And in this show, in the video showcase, I wanted to point out a YouTube channel for, I'm sure that a lot of you guys have probably heard of him, seen him do some road racing. His name is Matt O'Donnell. He used to do a lot of the Star Mazdas and stuff. But now I think he's moved on to the GT3 cars. He has his YouTube channel is called True Racer Academy. So a lot of people just know him as True Racer. He races with empty box a lot, and but he's a good watch. I've been watching him for a long time, and he's a good driver, pretty quick, and seems like he's younger than what he is. So, because I know he's a little bit older than what he seems like a kid kind of on the thing, but he's not a kid. But yeah, he's kind of like the John Hall, which I mentioned on a previous show. He will actually talk about how he tries to drive and setups and that kind of stuff like that. So, True Racer, so look it up on YouTube and watch him do some GT3. All right, some hardware stuff. Before we get into all your hardware stuff, let me just share my little hardware story, which was yesterday I pulled the trigger on some new pedals.
Nice. What'd you get?
I got the Club Sport V3s.
Well, you know what? Jose just got those, and Brad Miller just got those.
Hey, how about that? So I was actually I'm just got the plain ones, so I didn't get the damper kits.
Oh, okay.
But I plan to get the damper kits at some time because I'm really looking for. I want to race with kind of like shoes on, kind of not real shoes or anything like that. Just the kind of light shoes that you might see real racers wear, but not kind of like that. I'm tired of racing in socks. So I want something that has a little bit more real feel. I jump into my real car and I can, when I put on the gas, I can just do a little bit and that kind of stuff like that. And I have a real good feel for it, just like most people can in their car. I want that same feeling. And for me, at least in my CSR Elites that I have now, I feel when I put on the throttle, I don't have a real good feeling on how fast I'm going.
Yeah.
I feel like it's either halfway or more. You know what I mean?
You're going to love having good pedals. I mean, I have the main performance PCs, and I totally know what you're saying, and they're so much better with these nice pedals.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a step up from me, and so, but now my Elites will be my backup things. You always got to have backups.
So,
Just
Carlos, you want to talk a little bit about Jose's challenges with his new pedals? I know you've talked to him about it.
Oh yeah, he had I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but the brakes. You notice. I noticed this in Sebring. 12 hours when Jose was in the car, you see the brake lights keep flickering because they was constantly kept pressing, and it just caused issues. He was
like dragging the brake. Right?
Yeah, he was about 10 seconds off the pace there, and he didn't know what was wrong because he was right up there with us, and I don't know, just kept it was dragging the brake, and it happened again. He had to keep unplugging and reset all the configuration every time he plugs the wheel in or gets on.
Yeah, he was saying if his computer falls asleep, it loses configuration, but he figured out some kind of workaround. He plugged the wheel directly, the pedals directly into the computer instead of into the base, the wheelbase.
Yep.
But the other thing he's doing now is he's literally recalibrating his wheels in Windows under device and printers every time right before he races. So, I was telling Jose, you just spent a lot of money on these. They're brand new. I mean, it's kind of early to be, living with a workaround. So,
yeah,
he's having trouble. So I hope you don't have.
And I've heard of. Yeah, I hope not too. And be honest with you, if I do, I'm going to return them quite quickly, and then look for something else. But because I don't want to be in a thing with I don't even know how to say it. Is it the Fanatic? Or is it Fanatec?
Fanatec?
Yeah. I think it's Fanatic, but I'm not sure. But I don't want to be in a support mode with them all the time either. So if I got problems with it right away, I'm just going to return them and do something else. Like I've been looking at the ProSim Tech ones because they're still less than $500, and they seem to be okay. But I didn't want to go that high. This seems to have a lot of stuff. I mean, not only can you adjust the brake travel and tension and that type of stuff, but they also come with stronger springs, so you can change the springs in them.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. I want to be able to have that. I especially want to be able to feel the throttle more. And so I want the stronger spring, and that's also one of the reasons why when I get the damper kit, that's all, it's actually going to be for the brake and the throttle. But they also have pedal extensions and the D-shaped plates that you can put on them. So there seemed to be a lot more stuff you can do with it, and for the $300, it seemed like a good deal.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I decided.
Well, we still got to sort out Jose and get him to a spot where he's not having to calibrate every day.
Yeah. Well, first of all, don't have that computer go to sleep.
I've given him some ideas. I was a little surprised that the Fanatec doesn't have its own, calibration software, so to speak. It's just using the Windows device and printers section really as another device. I know with my new pedals, they actually gave me a little executable, and I have calibrated these things literally once, and I've never had to touch them again. So that's the way it should be, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's the way it should be. But I know that I haven't had real problems with mine. It's just like I said, it was just the throttle feel that I don't like. The brake feel is actually okay, but they have that little dial adjustment for the brakes on these CSR Elites, where you can go with how hard you push for it. And I know some people put it on real hard and to calibrate with, and then they'll ease it up. For after that, for example, they'll put it on 10 to calibrate, and then they'll move it to like 7 or something like that. But me personally, I have it on 7. I calibrated at 7, but we'll see about this. I also wouldn't mind a little bit more travel in the brake is what I have now. Right now, with my brake, it's basically pressure, and so it's I don't know. For places like Martinsville, I feel like I lock them up too much. So. Yeah, I'm just looking to try to get better feel out of my pedals. That's what I should say. Yep. So hopefully these V3s will work. And I know I'm not going to go the route you did. Otherwise, my wife will kill me. Which she's still wondering. She still thinks I'm nuts now.
Yeah, $300 for pedals. What are you doing? Don't tell her that Mike Ellis spent $1,300 on pedals.
I did. To try to justify.
but Mike did it, and he's
but Mike spent over $1,000. But anyway, go ahead and let's talk about the airboard app button box iPad.
Okay, yeah, teammate Jose Pabon is using this now. It's in the forums. It's called the Air Keyboard App Button Box for iPad. And iRacer Marco Palumbo came up with this. And it's an app in the iOS store. So you go search that, Air Keyboard, and you buy it. I think it was $4. And then there's there's all these different defaults, but one of them is an iRacing button box kind of thing. And I understand there might even be 2 of them at this point. And I haven't tried this because I'm pretty happy with my Rawcat button box, which is a free thing for iPad. But this one definitely has potential. And if I needed it, I would probably be looking at this for $4.
Yeah, well, the price isn't bad. I will say that. Of course, the price of an iPad is a lot more. So if you don't have one, but if you do, price isn't bad.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's configurable though, which means I think that you would have to have all the original keyboard mappings that iRacing does as a default. So if you've adjusted some of your default keys, like I have, this might or might not work. With the Rawcat button box, I was able to program each button to whatever key I decide. So it gave me a little more flexibility with that. But yeah, check it out.
Speaking of button box, I was actually looking at them and wondering if I should get one. But I got like 11 buttons on my wheel, and I was kind of thinking, what would I use the other ones for? I'm not sure if I would use more.
Well, look at the picture of this button box and get some ideas. I mean, one that I use a lot on my iPad is I have volumes up and down and mute. That's 3 keys for spotter, and then up, down, and mute for race chat as well. So just those 6 keys alone get a ton of use because I'm always constantly adjusting the sound and trying to, or muting one thing or another.
I just have a mute to mute everyone. I can't stand them anymore.
Yep.
All right. The change in netcode. Why don't you read us about that one?
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about the change in netcode thing on the settings page of the website, where you can get, you can say, I have this much bandwidth, and they send you more information per car. Basically, I just wanted to read a little bit about what Randy Cassidy from the iRacing staff said about this. Because in the release notes, they really didn't talk a lot about it. Let me pull this up, and I'm going to read a couple things that he wrote here. We can send information about the movement status of opponent cars to you with different levels of detail. The more detailed information lets us replicate the movement of the opponent cars more accurately, among other things, but it takes more bandwidth. If given your bandwidth selection, not all the cars to be sent would fit using the more detailed information, then some of them will be sent with less detailed information. The cars sent to you with less detailed information can cause worse, quote, netcode, quote, though to a lesser degree. So what they're saying is they can send you all this information, but if you limit it to, I only want to see 24 cars on track, which is a setting you can change in your app INI, then you can get away with it if you have the slower connection. So at the bottom here, he basically comes up with some guidelines. If you're on the 512K setting, you can get the highest amount of detail at around a limit of 24 cars. If you're on the 256K setting, then it's 18 cars, and so on. So this kind of gives you an idea about what that setting is. I hope that makes sense.
All right. I guess I'll find out about that. I know I switched.
I switched mine up to the highest level.
Yeah, one of them's up to the highest level. So I guess we'll see about that. But I always have it on 43 cars. I don't go down from that or up.
Yeah, I don't think you would change it unless you're on a very low bandwidth situation. But if you are, you should look into that a little bit. Next up is, I saw this new video card pop up for sale from NVIDIA. It's called the new Quadro M6000, and it has 24 gigabytes of RAM, and it sells for $5,000.
It's ridiculous.
Isn't that crazy? It's got, looks like a DVI-D output, 1, and it's got, look like 4 HDMI outs. So 5 outputs.
All right. I'm sure someone will get it.
Yeah, probably the guy we're going to talk about next.
Okay.
This guy, Shane Parrish, who's an iRacer, and if you want to see what we're seeing, I recommend you go to YouTube and you search Shane Parrish, Parish, and you look at his video of his rig that he has set up. It's got to be the best looking stationary iRacing rig I have ever seen in my life. And I look for stuff like this. It's a 12-minute video where he just basically does a tour of his rig and everything that, makes up the rig, the cockpit and so forth. And, another one of the iRacing shows, the name escaped me. They covered this yesterday. I thought I would mention it because I was kind of...
Inside Sim Racing?
Yeah, Inside Sim Racing. Yeah, they covered this as well. But I thought we had mentioned it just because, man, I was impressed. I watched this thing through a couple times, actually. I even showed my wife. I thought, you know what? I'm going to show this to my wife and kind of give her an idea that, you know what? I'm not as crazy as some other people.
He has like a full-on freaking cockpit there right under his monitors. It's like, have all the switches there and everything. It's crazy.
This guy has 32 speakers. He's got 2 8-foot tall racks of amps to run the 32 speakers. He's literally got a separate amp for TeamSpeak, a separate amp for Spotter, a separate amp for Race Chat, a separate amp for engine sound. It's crazy. He's got butt kickers all over his seat. I think he's got 6 butt kickers on his seat alone. He's got 2 giant subs behind the screens. So the sound system alone is ridiculous. His screens are 32-inch Samsung curves, all 4 of them. He's got 2 19s for a dash. It goes on and on. Lots of custom work with button boxes. He's got the Sim Experience wheel with a real NASCAR wheel that's detachable. Every upgrade you could think in the world he's got. It's a really nice looking rig.
Oh, the wheel also tilts up.
Did he give an estimated price tag on that?
No, but my wife asked me, and I kind of guessed. I guessed, 60 grand is what I guessed.
That's ridiculous. I'll tell you, like this whole desk area, or not desk, I guess the whole cockpit looks like an actual car if you don't count all the
tons
lights.
Of custom work. Like he took a Sparco racing seat, brand new, and he went and took it to the upholsterer and had it reupholstered, a brand new seat, so he could get the color, the colors right, because he's got a real light blue kind of theme going with checkered flag and so forth, and it just looks sharp.
I mentioned before it's a hobby, and that some people have real expensive hobbies, and it just kind of depends on what you're willing to do with it. A lot of people, they'll buy like a $90,000 car and do work on it and stuff. So, I mean, there is expensive things that people do for their hobbies, and apparently Shane Parrish has figured that he's going to pour money into his racing hobby. And so, I mean, he can't get a real car, what I mean? So he's not out there real racing, so he just wants the best experience he possibly can get, and he's willing to put some money towards it. So
yeah, it's a bedroom upstairs in his house, just a spare bedroom, but he had to run extra power, 2 20-amp circuits, and additional air conditioning, as well as a portable air conditioner, just to keep the room cool. So I actually ran 1 20-amp circuit to my office in preparations for my cockpit and rig. I certainly didn't plan for 2 of them, but now that I've seen his YouTube video, maybe I should.
I don't know. You got nothing on this guy.
I know he's got a fan. Let me talk about the lighting. He's got this crazy cockpit, roll bar as he calls it, which is basically a bar that goes up 8 feet and goes across and makes a square. And he's got all these like caution lights tied to the top of it with like sirens and all that kind of thing. And he's got it all programmed where, it's white for white flag, yellow for yellow flag. I think he said he was going to use the red color for when he was going too fast down pit road. So the lighting is very impressive too.
Oh, what's crazy was I was looking at, he was showing up PC. I'm watching this on Twitch, and I'm just showing it on Twitch, I should say. But his PC, I think he's doing like a quad SLI and 980 Ti's.
Yep. And then another video card. He has 3 internal sound cards. He has 6 external sound cards, for a total of 9 sound cards. Because he's running the butt kickers and the sim experience and all that stuff.
All right.
I'm impressed, Shane. We need to get Shane on here to talk about his rig. I think he'd be a great guest, so we'll have to work on that. Shane, if you're out there listening, let us know, and you'd like to be on the show and talk about your stuff. I'd love to talk more about it.
There you go. Open invitation to Shane Parrish. All right, let's get to some final thoughts. Carlos, you got any final thoughts?
I'm jealous of that rig. No, I don't know. Just not looking forward to next week's race, Martinsville.
Martinsville?
Yep, I bet I am there.
All right, Mike?
Well, if you're going to say Martinsville, I have to say catch the pace car. But
Yep. Which
I
you're
put that
known
on
for,
a
by
bumper
the way.
sticker.
I try not to say that anymore because people give me a hard
Yeah,
time.
I know.
But Martinsville, that's the one track where it's so important.
And yeah, it is.
But okay, so my final thought is, hey, Tifosi Racing, my team, we're getting real active on social media. We have a new Twitter account. It's called @Tifosi Racing, and so follow us on Twitter now. We got lots of new content going up on our Twitter and Facebook because we got more team members actually helping post stuff. So lots of different people on the team are taking charge, and it's just been really great. So make sure to follow us over there on Facebook and Twitter @Tifosi Racing. And my last thought is, the first 5 weeks of the season are over, and wow, Daytona was great, kind of as I expected. I had great runs there, but since, man, it's been tough, and I've just been humbled in some of these races because I'm the slowest car out there. I have no damage. I'm still the slowest car. And that's humbling. I tell you what, running 20th, 25th, all day long, that's humbling. And I've been humbled this first 5 weeks of the season. I hope to pick it up. I know I can do it. Last year I made it to the top 20 overall. I just hope we can pick it up.
All right. And for me, my final thoughts is just I'm kind of happy with the new package that they have in new low downforce. I think it suits my style a little bit better, which is kind of slower the cars down. Try to save your tires, that type of stuff. And this is in conjunction with the track changing and heating up, and the tire models and everything else like that. So I've been real happy with how that's been changing the A car, and since it kind of fits in with my style. I know it doesn't fit in with everyone else's, and some people are having problems with it. And for some tracks, me too. But I'm really happy with those changes, and I'm glad in the direction that iRacing is going with actually most of their changes. Quick question, guys. It's an off week this week, so what are you doing?
I've been asking myself that. I don't know. I've been bored and playing different games that don't even relate to iRacing lately.
I'm literally taking the week off from iRacing. I haven't raced much at all, and I'm actually going out of town tomorrow morning for the weekend. So enjoy your off time, because there isn't an off week for quite a long time now.
Hell, it's a good thing they're giving us an off week now, so take a break while we come to terms with dealing with Martinsville next week.
Yeah, it's actually kind of tough. I'll probably run A Open tonight too. They're at Daytona, which is kind of stupid that they're at Daytona. And since we just raced there, and but I'll probably run an A Open and try and do some roads. But I'm still kind of struggling on what road series I really want to run. I ran last week at the Formula Renault. And, I don't. Yeah, I don't know if that excites me. I did buy the Audi, and so maybe I might do GT3, but I don't know if that excites me. I hate to say it, but one of the nice things it is about road is that basically almost any time during the day you can find races. Unlike on the oval side, it becomes a little bit more of a struggle at certain times of the day and finding them. And I don't know. This week has been kind of a blah week because of the off week, and so that's the reason why I was kind of wondering. So now we know. We're all just kind of wish there was a race. So anyway, have fun on your vacation there, Mike.
All right.
And this should do it for this episode of the iRacers Lounge. All right.
See ya.
Yep. This podcast has been brought to you by Simmers and Chewy Side. Check out the track guides and see you on the track. Thank you for listening to the iRacers Lounge podcast. Make sure to go subscribe to us at our YouTube channel at iRacers Lounge. Follow on Twitter and Facebook at iRacers Lounge and SoundCloud at iRacers Lounge. See you on the track.